Hello, this is Lamin B. Suare, a student in English 1001, class 027. Um, this is my screencast for level 1, mission 3, the course mission. This is where we choose an article that is at least 25 years old. The article I chose was published on New York Times on January 1st, 1980. And the article had to do with gold, gold and silver at peaks in terms of price, and the dollar year mixed. As you can see, I just highlighted that. This was written by Alexandra R. Hammer, and it chronicled details account of world events starting in 1978, from United States and Iraq hostage situation to falling oil price production and prices, to lack of confidence in the both economy both in the United States and Europe, to Soviet uh, military invasion in Afghanistan, to concerns about military confrontation in the Middle East by the United States after the Iran hostage situation, and how combination of these events gave rise to the high gold price, decreased value of most Western currencies, including the dollar and the German mark and the British pound sterling, and the ultimate hardship in terms of job loss and food insecurity. So, coincidentally, and that's the summary of the story, and coincidentally, this story is similar to what is going on now in the world. If you watch news, you probably heard of the Brexit vote. This was a vote casted by the British people. It was in a referendum to get out of the euro, and this has sent the value of pound sterling and euro on its tail, and the impact is still far from over. The entire world is anxiously waiting to see how this exit would affect European Union in terms of trade, freedom of movement, and potential ripple effects that we cannot think of right now. Its initial impact since the price of gold up and fear for recession has deepened, especially in Europe. The connection of this article to the issues today extends not only to economic anxiety that most people feel, but concerns about Middle East crisis and involvements of Russia and Iran in many of those instabilities. Not very much unlike the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Russia had annexed Crimea, formerly part of Ukraine, and had since been flexing its muscles in Syrian conflict. So the similarity here is, just like I mentioned earlier, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, which is in the Middle East, and now they are in Syria, um, and the United States and the rest of the Western world uh, protested, first of all, Russia's action and levied economic sanctions against them. Consequently, oil prices took a nosedive, and I just highlighted this too, which affects stock markets, especially stocks related to oil. You can see the relations between the article that was published in 1980 to what is happening now, so it does have relevance to today. Although sanctions against Russia is not the only reason for this turmoil and lack of confidence on the part of investors. Um, but it played a big role. The combination of crises around the world and the power struggles among world powers has given rise to food insecurity in terms of in certain parts of the world. For example, there are parts of Syria where children and women are trapped and die every day because aid could not reach them because of the conflict. And as people, the lesson we can learn from these conflict and economic anxiety is by focusing on what matters the most. This can be accomplished by making world peace and economic prosperity, by making world peace and economic prosperity a new model. for global engagement. As individuals, we can start to engage one another at local levels by promoting peace and understanding, protecting the vulnerable, and fully participate in our political process. Power and greed are typically at the root of most issues confronting the world today. And if we can learn from reasons that cause these things in the first place, we will be able to put measures in place to avert similar events in the future. To conclude, I would like to implore world leaders and voters alike, especially in the democratic world, the voters put leaders in position to position of authority to make certain decisions, sometimes war and peace decisions. That alike to make peace, sanity in the stock markets, um, by some reasonable, sensible regulations so people don't go crazy, and genuine engagement as a corner principle around the globe that would have a potential to promote global security, stability, and diplomacy as number one weapon for resolving conflicts and not war. I attached some visual aids here. I got these Getty images of a stock market tumbling from Google, and I also put this graph here from USDA to show when stock markets or the world financial market crashes, it does have effect on the job market. And even though over two-thirds of households represented in this graph where children experience very low food security, they had an employment from 2006 to 2007. But you can see 8% are part-time, 13% unemployed. So naturally, this category right here, the children from those households are definitely going to be faced with food insecurity more so than ones that are fully employed. And this is my citation, and I thank you for your attention.